welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my favorite hydrating mist, facial sprays, setting sprays. Not all of them are setting sprays, so I'm just going to go one by one explaining how I use them, the type of finish they give and they provide, all of that jazz. And these are mainly for those of you who have like drier, like normal to drier skin types. I do have some that you could wear if you have oily skin. I'm going to explain how you can use them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna try to like go as quickly as I can because I don't want this video to be too long. So with that being said, if you guys are interested, then please keep on watching. All right, so first up we have an OG, and to me this is the one that started it all. I feel like if it wasn't for this, a lot of other brands wouldn't have a hydrating mist or a setting spray, and it is the MAC Original Fix Plus. I cannot live without this. Now this bad boy has cucumber, so it's super hydrating, refreshing, and soothing on the skin. To me, this has more of a soft sheen, so it's not super glowy or dewy, but it's also not mattifying either. It just gives like a natural glow from within without being too greasy on the skin. Now to me, this is not a setting spray, even though MAC now claims that it is. But I think this is more of kind of like a primer, a refreshing type of mist to kind of fix your makeup and kind of enhance it and boost the overall look of your skin, and also to kind of finish it off, but not necessarily to make it last longer. Even though it does have glycerin, I don't find this to be super long lasting. Now I love this as a primer, so before I apply all of my makeup products, just to kind of refresh my skin and add moisture, and also during my makeup application. So for example, after I apply powders, you're gonna get that super flat look. It's gonna look kind of like powdery and just dry, and I feel like this just adds moisture, but it kind of blends all the products in with each other and it makes it look like skin. I love that about it. And I also love to use this as a finisher, not to set my makeup, but just to add a bit of sheen to my skin without doing the most. I also love this as a touching up type of spray. I'm not one to bring my whole entire makeup with me if I go out. I only like to bring my lip products, so like my lip liner, my lipstick, my lip gloss, maybe a lip balm, and I'll bring like a mini Fix Plus, or I'll bring the large one depending on how I'm feeling. And instead of packing on more makeup on my face, I just spray some Fix Plus, and it kind of revives the makeup. It improves the overall look, so it doesn't look cakey. It kind of makes it look like you just applied it, so I absolutely love it. Now the only thing with this is a lot of people don't like the actual spray. They find it not to be super fine. So to me, this is the best, just because I feel like I can actually drench my skin in this and I actually feel it on my face. A lot of the other setting sprays or hydrating mists I'm going to show you guys today are a little bit too fine to the point that I can't even feel them, and I have to spray so much. With this, I only spray a little. Well, that's a lie. I sprayed a lot, but I just feel like I can actually feel it on my face, and I love that about it. So I know for some people this is not the best, like, what do you call it, nozzle applicator, whatever, but to me it is, just because I want to be able to drench my skin in it, and it works perfectly fine. And just to finish it off, I feel like this is the only spray that I can actually drench my skin in without messing up my makeup, without like overly making my skin look dewy. It's like magic in a bottle. That's pretty much what it is, and I absolutely love it. I think that all skin types can wear this, but I do feel like if you have more of an oilier type of skin type, I wouldn't use this as a finisher. Just use it to prime your skin before applying your makeup, and then during your makeup application, and then use like another setting spray that's gonna actually like maybe mattify your skin or lock in the makeup to make it last longer. So yeah, if you haven't tried this, highly recommend. All right, next up we have another MAC product, and it is the Fix Plus Magic Radiance. Now this came out this year, so it's a lot newer, but this is my third one. I absolutely love this. To me, this is a more like skincare version of the MAC Fix Plus. It basically is a mix of the original Fix Plus with the MAC essential oils and then the MAC softening lotion. So if you have all of those three, you can always mix them and you can create your own Magic Fix Plus. This right here to me is more so of a primer or more of a skincare regimen type of spray, just because it's a lot more hydrating, more moisturizing, and more dewy compared to the original Fix Plus, because this has the coral grass and the vitamin C from the softening lotion. You're gonna get that radiance and you're gonna get that brightening effect, and then the essential oils are gonna help to moisturize and just kind of like soften the skin and just add that glow. So if you feel like this is too glowy for you, you're probably not gonna like this, because this has a lot more luminosity to it. But this I don't like as like a finisher. This is more so like as my primer. I pretty much use this as part of my skincare regimen, just to add moisture after I cleanse my face. And then before I apply my makeup as a primer, I love it as well. I used it today. Like I said, this is my third bottle and I absolutely love it. But yeah, I feel like if you have very, very dry skin or you're just lacking moisture, you would definitely enjoy this. In terms of oilier skin types, you could definitely still use this, but just use it as a primer, or like as part of your skincare regimen, or maybe in between makeup application, but don't use this to finish off your makeup, because you're gonna end up looking a little oily, you know what I mean? But it's definitely hydrating. And then the mister is pretty much just like the original Fix Plus. In terms of the scent, it doesn't really have a strong scent. It's very, very subtle, just like the original one. So all right, so moving on, we have another favorite, which is the Glow Recipe Watermelon Ultra Fine Mist. This is my fourth one. Like, I need to get a new one. Now this right here I use pretty much for everything. I use this as a toner just because it is very, very hydrating due to the fact that it has watermelon, and it also has AHAs, which help to kind of like soften the skin and just get rid of that texture. You know, it kind of exfoliates the skin without like doing the most, without having to use very heavy chemicals or kind of like peels or like physical exfoliators. It is amazing, and it has that watermelon scent. I love watermelon, so I really enjoy the smell of this. If you don't like fragrances or you don't like watermelon scents, you're probably not gonna like this, but I feel like the product is too amazing not to try it. Now this I use, like I said, as a toner just to add moisture to my skin. After cleansing, before I apply my moisturizer, my serums. I also use this as a primer just because, like I said, it has AHA, so it kind of gets rid of texture on the skin and it smooths it out. So when you apply your foundation, it just glides on seamlessly. And I also like this during my makeup application after applying powder, just to kind of like revive my overall look and kind of blend all the products in together. I don't necessarily use this to finish my makeup off, but sometimes I do. In terms of skin types, I think all skin types will enjoy this product. But again, if you have oily skin, don't use it as a finisher or as a setting spray. Use it as a toner, use it as a primer, use it between makeup application. It is a beautiful. And then the mister, it's super fine, but you can actually feel it on your skin. It's almost like a continuous spray. I can't get over that smell. And to me, even though it's a fine mist, I can still feel it. It's not super, super fine to the point that I feel like I gotta spray a lot. So I really, really enjoy this. Like I said, this is my fourth one and I will continue to repurchase. So I highly, highly recommend this. This is more soothing, especially if you have very sensitive skin. I feel like this is very, very soothing on the skin, very calming. And it just plumps your skin. So in terms of the finish, this has a soft sheen similar to the MAC Fix Plus. It's not overly dewy or glowy. It just adds like a natural glow. Moving on, we have the Fenty Beauty What It Do. This is the Hydrating Refreshing Spray. So this one right here, I really, really like how refreshing it is, how hydrating it feels on the skin. This definitely, I would say, is more of kind of like a primer, a spray that you can apply during makeup application. And if you have dry skin or normal combo skin, somebody's calling me, you could definitely use this to finish off your makeup, but I wouldn't recommend this for oily skin to finish off your makeup. Just use it as a primer or during makeup application, otherwise you're gonna look a little bit dewy. In terms of the finish, this is a little bit more glowy than the MAC Fix Plus, just like a tiny bit more. It's not super, super dewy, but it's definitely a little bit more glowy than the MAC Fix Plus. My only issue with the Fenty spray is how fine the mister is. It's a little too fine for my liking. So it's beautiful, but I could barely feel it on my skin, and I feel like I have to spray and spray and spray and spray, and I keep spraying and spraying and spraying, and I feel like I don't feel like I get that drenched feeling how I get it with the Fix Plus. So compared to the what do you call it, the Glow Recipe, this is a lot more fine. So this you have to apply a little bit more just because you could barely feel it. However, for those of you who just want a little bit, I feel like you will love that just because it is super fine. I know some people have trouble with sprays because they find that it spits at them, it kind of messes up their makeup. So this is great for those of you who just want a little bit of a glow, a little bit of moisture, but you don't want to drench your skin like when you use like a MAC Fix Plus, if that makes any sense. So I do recommend this for all skin types, but again, for oilier skin, you just gotta have to be careful with how much you apply and just kind of avoid the areas where you tend to get oily. So if you're very oily in your T-zone, just kind of apply it on the sides of your face and you're good to go. But it's very hydrating, and the scent is very, very subtle as well. Like it doesn't have a, it's just very like fresh. It smells very fresh, very soothing. So yeah, I really, really like it. But like I said, my only thing with this is the fact that the mister is a little too fine. All right, so we're moving on to another product that's also newer. This is the Patrick Ta Major Glow Dewy Milk Mist, which by the way, I don't understand why he called it the milk mist, because this doesn't look milky. But other than that, I love the packaging. It's very tiny, very just kind of like luxe looking. Now this right here feels very, very, very refreshing on the skin. Very kind of like soothing as well. This does have a stronger scent compared to all of the other sprays that I've talked about so far. It's kind of like a, this reminds me of this one right here, the Charlotte Tilbury. Like the smell is kind of similar. It's not overly like concentrated or anything like that, but I'm just saying for those of you who don't like any scents in your sprays or anything like that, you probably don't want to get this. I personally don't have an issue with it. It's just compared to the other sprays, I actually smell it a little bit more. As you guys saw, the spray is fine, but it's not super fine like the Fenty one. It sprays enough amount where I can still feel it on my skin. Now this right here, in terms of the finish, I would consider this a soft sheen, soft glow, similar to a MAC Fix Plus. I personally feel like the Fenty one, it's a lot more dewy than the Patrick Ta, which I was a little kind of like shocked because Patrick Ta is known for the glow, the major glow, the glass skin, you know, and I was expecting this to be very, very glowy, very dewy and luminous, and it is, but it's a lot more like subdued. It's a lot more soft. It's not super, super glossy. So I feel like a lot more skin types can wear this. Even if you have oily skin, just don't use it as a finisher. Use it in between application, as a primer, you know what I mean? And it does add a glow, but it's a very subtle glow. So I really, really like this. I was just expecting a little bit more glow, but other than that, I absolutely loved it. I actually used it today, and I really like the vibe that it gives me. Moving on, we have another favorite of mine, which is the First Sally Rose Gold Skin Mist. This is the 24 gold infused spray. This I absolutely love. Now this is definitely different compared to the other ones I mentioned, just because in terms of the finish, it is super, super glowy. This is luminous. So in terms of skin types, I would only recommend this to those of you who like a glow, who have very normal to dry skin types. If you have oily skin, I do recommend it, but just use it as a primer to kind of add a little bit of that glow from within. So when you apply your foundation, your powder, it doesn't look flat. I feel like a lot of people with oily skin tend to just use everything matte, and it just looks dry. I feel like you still need to add a little moisture in there, whether it's a primer, whether it's a spray, whether it's the moisturizer. Something has to be hydrating in there to kind of like mix all the products in and make them look like skin rather than just like, I don't know, paint almost. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah, if you have oily skin, just use this as a primer, and also use it strategically on the areas where you want extra glow. So don't apply it all over, just kind of spray it here on the highest points of your cheekbones to add a little bit of shine, and then call it a day. But for normal to dry skins, sis, I be drenching my skin with this. I love it. Now this has a citrusy scent to it, which feels so refreshing, so hydrating on the skin. Ooh, this big old earring, girl. The bigger the hoop, the bigger the, and I don't care. Let me stop. Now, because this does have like gold infused like particles in there, I know a lot of people don't necessarily like that. However, you don't even see them on your skin. You do want to make sure to shake this up before spraying, but you're not gonna see a bunch of shimmer on your face or glitter. Like, I promise, you're not gonna see that at all. But this just creates kind of like a filter on your skin before applying your makeup, and it just makes everything look so dewy. Like, it is a glass skin. It is very glossy, very dewy. Like I said, if you don't like glow, don't get this. But if you like a glow like I like a glow, you will absolutely love this. I highly recommend it. Now, I also forgot to mention this. I actually do like it as a setting spray, just because this kind of has like an adherent to it. I don't know how to explain it, but when you spray it, it doesn't feel like a Fix Plus or like any of the other sprays. You can actually feel like the makeup is sticking onto it. So I do like this as a setting spray, but again, if you have oily skin, you don't want to use this as a setting spray because you're gonna look a hot, greasy mess. But for dry skin, normal skin, bomb. Alrighty, so next up, I have a product that I've been trying out like recently for about, I'm gonna say 3 weeks now. This is the Iconic London Prep Set Glow. But this right here, you definitely want to shake it up. As you guys can see, there's like pearlescent bronzy particles, so you want to shake it up so that it distributes, you know, evenly all throughout. This smells incredible. Like, it is so, it does smell perfumey. I'm not gonna front, but I love the smell of it. It reminds me of something back in like my childhood days. I love how it sprays the right amount without doing too much, but also it's not super fine to the point where I feel like I have to spray a lot, you know what I mean? Now with this, I used it today again as well, and this just adds a lot of glow. This is definitely glowy, and it adds a little bit of color to the skin, but very lightly. I think this shade works on all skin tones. I feel like whether you have fair, medium, tan to deeper complexions, this works because you don't even see, this color's not gonna go on your skin like that. It goes on very kind of like glowy and just kind of like a light bronzy type of finish, but not like super dark or anything like that. So let me just spray a little bit more so you guys can see. But it just adds a glow to the skin. It's so refreshing, hydrating. And with this, I do recommend if you have dry skin to use it as a setting spray if you want to, but not if you have oily skin. I just don't think that's the vibe for you, especially because you're gonna look a little bit oilier than usual. But I do think that if you apply just on the areas where you want that extra glow, you are not gonna have an issue. I love using this as a primer as well before applying my makeup, just to kind of like create a glowy base, and then everything just glides on a lot better and just gives me that extra luminosity that I love. So I obsessed. Moving on, we have the dewiest of them all, Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. This I've been obsessing with. Like, it is amazing. I'm so mad that I didn't try it like years ago, because you know this has been hyped and I always kind of like ignored it just because people said that this is pretty much just like the MAC Fix Plus, it's just overpriced, yada yada. No, it is not overpriced. I mean, okay, it is overpriced, but it's worth the price. You get what I'm saying? This right here as a primer to apply during makeup application, beautiful. As a setting spray, a no-go. No. Unless you have dry skin and you want glow. This is intense. This is the most intense spray out of all the ones that I'm going to show you guys today, or the ones that I've already mentioned. This is the dewiest, glowiest, most glass skin like spray that I have or that I've ever tried. It is intense. You only need about 2 sprays or 3 sprays with this. If you do more than that, you're gonna look greasy, especially if you have oily skin. You only need a little bit. This I love, especially when I want my skin to just glow from miles away and I don't want to use like powder highlighters or liquid highlighters or anything. It's just so beautiful and it makes my makeup look like butter, just flawless. This as a primer before applying your makeup is going to create that glow from within, but also between application it's going to get rid of that powdery look if you're using powders, and it's going to add that radiance to the skin. But again, if you don't like a glow, stay away from it because this is like intense, intense, intense. In terms of the mixture, it's pretty fine. It kind of reminds me of the Fenty one, but the difference is this I can actually feel more on my skin, and this because I don't apply too much because it's super dewy, it's more than enough. Like I wouldn't want this to have a nozzle similar to the Fix Plus because I would look like, I don't know, like I put baby oil on. Like this is perfectly made. And in terms of the scent, I don't even smell it. Like it has a very kind of skincare type of scent, so very subtle. I really like it. Moving on, we have another very glowy, very intense dewy product. This is the Pixie Glow Mist. So this right here, as you guys can see, I've been killing this, but I don't use this all the time because this is very intense. This has a lot of oils and stuff like argan oil, and this you want to shake up really, really well before you spray it. And to be honest, if you want an alternative, a more like affordable version of the Tatcha, this is it right here. They're pretty much very similar to how dewy and intense they are. The only thing is with this one, because there's a lot of oil in here, you kind of have to be careful because it's a little bit intense. So this I love for my body. Like I actually already sprayed it on my chest. This is what I use on my body, and it just creates a glow and it adds a sheen. It is beautiful, but without any shimmers or glitter and stuff. It does have a smell of like oil pretty much. It doesn't bother me, but I wish it smelled a little sweeter. You know, I'm being picky, but it doesn't really have like a strong scent or anything. The only thing is I don't know if I would recommend this to like people that have problems with acne or tend to break out easily, just because there's a lot of oil in here, a lot of oil, so it may break you out. I could be wrong, you know, I'm not a skincare expert, I'm just saying. And this, if you have oily skin, stay away, stay away, stay away, stay away, stay away. You're gonna look a hot mess. A hot mess. I wouldn't even recommend this as a primer or anything if you have oily skin. This is oily, shiny, dewy, luminous, all of that in one bottle. Like, I love it, but I mainly like to use this like right here and as a primer, not as a setting spray, not during makeup application, just kind of like before I put my makeup on to kind of like create that glowy base, but that's about it. But it's definitely a beautiful hydrating mist. All right, and then the last spray, the most innovative one out of all of them in my opinion so far, Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Wow, she did that. Like, I'm not even trying to hype homegirl up because I know some people get mad every time I talk about Charlotte Tilbury products. I know they're pricey, but sis, it is worth every single penny. This is like the mini size. It also comes in the full size, which I'm definitely gonna get once I run out of this one. Okay, where do I start? The scent is very floral. It's very refreshing. This sprays just kind of like the Fix Plus in the sense that you can feel it on your skin. This is what I'm talking about. Like, I want to feel it on my face. Like, look at it. You get what I'm saying? But it's fine. So like, if MAC ended up with a nozzle like this, this would be like perfection, you know, for a lot of people. The finish, it definitely has a soft glow, but it's not super intense like the Tatcha one or anything like that. Now this right here, I only recommend for prepping purposes before you apply your makeup. to kind of use it as an adherent so that your makeup sticks onto it, and as a finisher. This is the only one that I recommend for all skin types to use as a finisher once you're done with your makeup, because once you spray this, it's gonna lock in everything and it won't move, it won't budge. If you have problems with your makeup transferring, or if you sweat a lot, this is the solution right here. I'm telling you right now. It is hydrating, you know what I mean? It is going to lock in your makeup, make it last longer. It is great as a primer. Like, it just works so well. Again, the scent is more of a floral scent, so if you don't like scents, you may not necessarily like this. But I think you can kind of like forget about the scent once you try this, just because it's bomb. I'm gonna do a quick demo again, even though I already did one. I'm just gonna grab this palette from Natasha Denona. I'm just gonna grab this bronzy shade right here. I'm gonna put it on the back of my hand, on both hands, so you guys can see. All right, so I have the product on both sides of my hands. I'm gonna spray the Charlotte on this hand right here. All right, I'm just gonna let this dry. So again, I apply the spray on this hand. This hand doesn't have any of the spray. I don't know if you guys can see, this looks a lot more glowy, just a little bit more. So it does create a bit of a glow to the skin, but not super intense. So I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna grab 2 fingers and I'm gonna try to like, so you guys can see, I pretty much just blended out that whole entire powder. I'm gonna do the same thing on this hand right here. And I'm going pretty hard. I don't know if you guys can tell, it's still there compared to that. Like, again, like I mentioned in the video where I reviewed this product, it's still gonna move a little bit, but not like it did on this hand without, you know, using the product. So it works super, super well. Like, it is super strong in my opinion. And it adds this kind of like film on the skin, and that's what is gonna help your makeup adhere to it and make it last longer. So I will say, if you do like more of a matte finish, you're not necessarily gonna love this, but it's not overly dewy or glossy. Just don't overspray. I do find that if you overspray, that's when you tend to get that kind of like super glowy finish. Spray like 3 times, just 1, 2, 3, or do kind of like a T1 and 2, you know what I mean? Or like an X, and then just call it a day. Don't overspray unless you're like myself and you like to drench your skin in it. But to set it, you only need a little bit, I promise. That's all you need. And then one thing that I cannot forget about, do not use this in between application, especially if you're not done blending your makeup. Because if you, let's say you're doing your blush, your highlight or whatever, and you didn't blend it in properly and it looks patchy, and then you spray this to hydrate your skin and then you let it dry, when you go back in to try to like, you know, blend it back in or try to fix it, you're not gonna be able to, because this is gonna lock it in. So be mindful of that. Just use it as a primer or use it as a setting spray. Don't use it in terms of hydrating purposes. Use another spray for that. So yeah, you guys, those are like my top go-to sprays at the moment. I am obsessed. All right, so real quick, I want to rate all the sprays from like the most natural in terms of the finish to the most like glowiest, dewiest one. So all right, first up, I'm gonna say the MAC Fix Plus is probably the most natural one to me. Then the Glow Recipe one. I feel like these two are kind of like in the same boat. And then the Magic Radiance, it's just a little bit more hydrating, more dewy, just because of the essential oils, but it's not a big difference. So these 3 are kind of like similar. Then we have the Fenty and then the Patrick Ta. To me, both of these are pretty much the same. I feel like they give me the same finish. I don't think one's glowier or dewier than the other. I feel like both are kind of like similar. Then the Charlotte Tilbury is definitely more glowy than the Patrick Ta and the Fenty. Then definitely I'm gonna go with the Iconic London. Then is the Versali for sure. And then of course the Tatcha. Now this right here with the Tatcha, to me they're kind of like neck and neck. The only difference is I just feel like this is more dewy because there's more oil in here, you know what I mean? But I feel like they're very similar. They're kind of like the same thing. But yeah, that's pretty much the order in the way that I probably rate them in terms of the glow. So yeah, you guys, please check the description box below for all the products that I mentioned today. Follow your girl on Instagram at simplydianaj, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, beauties.